are these people?
Yeah, and we're not really seeing that galvanization of people. And like, just to give you an example of a little odyssey that I went through, I need some dental work right now. And I have an insurance like basic that you get with OHP or whatever with the state that I live in. And this is the interesting thing. No one would take it. Then finally I found a dentist that would, but they would only pay for half the procedure. So in other words, like half of a root canal. And so the other half is like $1,200 plus whatever else goes with it. But you have to pay the full amount at service. You can't just break it into payments. And this is, that's dental. And then, health, is crisis. We're all, because the states are taking the federal money, they get the kickbacks to offer some services. But then what they do is they make it almost like a maze or make it impossible for people to access those services that are supposed to be low cost or, based on your income. And so another trick to all of this is to say, oh, well, I passed a law that did this. But then what they do is they give it and then they take it away. Kind of like what they did with COVID relief. They were supposed to give housing relief. Well, I found out that in 2 of the states here on the West Coast, 90% of that money has never gone to where it was supposed to go. 90%.
It went to the police.
Yeah.
It literally, the COVID money, like in California, this is why I think it's so funny how disconnected a lot of us are from our political system. Because you hear conservatives talk about, the Democratic Party is so socialist. And no, it's not. The Democratic Party is capitalist and imperialist to its core. It is one half of the oligarchy, and the Republican Party is the other half. And the state you're talking about, California, they gave the majority of their COVID money that was supposed to go to healthcare and to public housing and to help people. They gave it to the police forces. Yeah, they literally spent it on police because they knew that people are struggling. And so what do people do when they struggle? They rebel, as they should. Riot. We should be rebelling every day against this corrupt system. So, that's, again, I mean, we're so far away from anything that resembles dignity and justice for all people in this country. And, when you talk about healthcare, one thing that blows my mind is with this new legislation and this new package for Ukraine, Biden and the Democrats are giving them an additional $40 billion. It was $33 billion, but that wasn't enough. So they raised it by by an additional $7 billion. And they're now giving $40 billion. And this is in addition to the aid that they already sent a few months back. So, and for me, when you look at just the landscape of our nation right now, we have 140 million Americans who are either poor or low income. That's almost half of our country. We have 92 million Americans, 92 million Americans who are either underinsured or uninsured.
Right.
And you have Biden and the Democrats, instead of spending money on the American people, they're spending money on a proxy war with Russia. This is outrageous. And you know what, Ryan?
This
is unconscionable.
And they don't even hide it. Like what Biden said last week, remember? He stood in front of in front of the press corps that does nothing but ask him how many more weapons he's going to send to Ukraine and what kind. But anyway, he was standing giving this speech saying, well, Ukrainians need pocket money. And I was like, do we just not exist to these people? Like American citizens just don't exist.
Yes, we do. They literally, our government does not give a shit about us.
No.
And for me, what's most remarkable is when your eyes finally are wide open, you just think to yourself, how have we tolerated this abuse and this corruption for so long? And the reason is because they're in control of the information, because of our corporate media. So people are literally, you've got half the country that's just suffering in silence, and then they turn on the news and you've got the Fox News or the CNN or the MSNBC. They're all the same to me. They're literally all the same. They're just corporate owned media that supports our decrepit capitalist and imperialist system. They have different messages that they target the base, but essentially the message that both are putting out is deceiving the people from the actual corruption, from the fact that neither party is on our side, from the fact that both of them are working against us and they're writing laws that are literally rigged against the working class and are rigged for the ruling class. And they prevent us from coming together because at the end of the day, That's the real fear of the oligarchy or of our duopoly, right? Is the only way to keep this going is to keep us divided. Because if they can
Right.
keep us divided as, red versus blue, the
Right.
people are so busy fighting each other. They're trying to convince us that our neighbors are the problem. They want us to be fighting with each other, because if we're fighting with each other, we're too busy fighting each other to notice that oh, hey, look up there, they're rigging the system against us. So
Mm-hmm.
that's really the great fear. Each party spends so much time demonizing the other, blaming every problem in America on the other side, because their big fear is all of us coming together and putting an end to this corrupt government once and for all. And so that's why, like, when I finally woke up, I won't, buy into these narratives that are meant to divide us anymore. And I think that, I encourage everyone to try to find solidarity in your community, even people that maybe voted differently than you. Like, again, at the end of the day, we're all not that different. Like me, yeah, I've got a partner, I've got a husband, but I want the same thing as a voter who voted for Trump and it isn't gay. Like, we both just want a good job, good wages, good health care, safety for our family. Like, we're not that different.
Well, and that's what
But they
human
make it
beings
seem like we
want.
should be so
Yeah.
different. In fact, today,
Mhm.
like, I find more in common, even though I disagree with a lot of their economic policies, I find at least some of the people on the right, even though I am a socialist, again, and I disagree with the economics, I see a lot more conservatives that want to, like, burn the government down or want to protest. Where I see these liberals, they're such elitists that they just like, oh no, we just need to get rid of the Republicans and then America will magically be fixed. And I'm like,
And
have you
don't
looked
go
into
to
who funds
anybody's
your party?
house. Remember when they said that? Psaki said, "Now don't go to people's houses
Right.
and
Yeah. Don't
protest."
protest. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, anyone that's telling you not to protest or telling you how to protest, they
Yeah.
are literally trying to uphold the status quo, and you should not be listening to them. And that's the thing about these liberals, is they've literally become the gatekeepers for the status quo in America. They
Right.
just want to get rid of Republicans and then everything will be okay. And I'm like, have you seen who funds your party? The same billionaires that fund the Republicans, the same corporations that fund the Republicans, they also fund the Democrats. You can get rid of the red corporate party, then we're left with the blue corporate party, and we got the same problems, maybe just different rhetoric, right? Because the Democrats are masters of rhetoric. They spill out nice rhetoric to confuse people. At the end of the day, they're just as fascist, they're just as racist, they're just as corrupt as the Republicans. They just put a prettier face on it.